One ordinary night. One group of friends, one mother who never came home alive. This is the story of Tamla Horsford, a story that refuses to die because the answers never came. How does a fun sleepover among neighborhood friends end with a woman dead in the backyard, face down in the grass with injuries that don't quite add up? Today, we're pulling back every layer, every odd detail, every contradiction that still makes people believe something sinister happened that night. If you're drawn to the unsolved and the unexplained, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop your theories in the comments. Because the death of Tamla Horsford might just be one of the most suspicious accidents you'll ever hear about. Tamla Horsford was 40 years old in 2018. A mother of 5 boys, a devoted wife, a daughter, a sister, a friend who loved to laugh loud and dance big. Born in the Caribbean, Tamla brought that warmth with her wherever she went. People described her as joyful, loyal, the kind of mom who'd show up at every game and every school event. So when her friend Jean Myers invited her to an adult sleepover for her 45th birthday, Tamla was all in. It was supposed to be a girls' night. Wine, football, snacks, and a night away from mom life. Little did she know it would be the last night of her life. Jean Myers lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Forsyth County, Georgia, a place with picket fences, well-kept lawns, and the kind of community where everyone knows everyone. On the night of November 3rd, 2018, there were about 10 to 12 people at Jean's house, mostly middle-aged women, a few husbands and boyfriends hanging around too. Tamla was the only black woman there that night, a detail that would later become a point of tension for some who believe the investigation was tainted by the county's history. The guests drank, watched football, the LSU versus Alabama game, ate chili, played cards. According to everyone there, Tamla was the only one drinking tequila straight that night. As the night crept past midnight, most of the women turned in for the night. Some went to bed in spare rooms, others curled up on couches or went home altogether. Tamla, who was known to be a night owl, decided to stay up. She FaceTimed her husband at around 8:30 p.m. and texted friends throughout the evening. She even checked on her boys at home, laughing and telling them she'd see them in the morning. She was said to be in good spirits. Around 1:30 a.m., Jean's boyfriend Jose Barrera and another male guest, Tom Smith, claimed they saw Tamla eating gumbo and getting ready to step outside for a smoke on the back porch. It was cold, dark, and Tamla, alone, went out on the second-story deck for her final cigarette. No one admits to seeing what happened next. At 8:45 a.m., Jean's aunt Madeline Lombardi looked out the window and spotted something in the backyard grass. It was Tamla, lying face down in the yard below the balcony. She wasn't moving. Madeline alerted Jean's boyfriend Jose, who then called 911. The 911 call has haunted many true crime fans for years. Jose's voice is calm. Some say too calm. He tells the dispatcher, "She's not breathing. She's stiff. She must have fallen off the balcony." He also tells the operator that Tamla smelled like alcohol and must have gotten too drunk and fell. But when first responders arrived, what they found didn't quite look like a simple slip and fall. The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office ruled Tamla's death an accident. The cause: multiple blunt force injuries from a fall. Her toxicology showed a blood alcohol level of 0.238, almost 3 times the legal driving limit, plus traces of marijuana and Xanax. They said Tamla probably smoked her cigarette, stumbled back inside or leaned too far over the railing, lost her balance, fell 14 feet, broke her neck, and died instantly. It was a tragic accident. That's what the sheriff's office said. But Tamla's family and half the internet weren't buying it. Tamla's injuries were extensive. She had cuts and abrasions on her face, arms, and legs. She had a broken neck and a laceration on her heart. Her wrist was dislocated. Her ankles were cut and bruised. Forensic experts, including those hired by Tamla's family, argued that these injuries seemed more consistent with an assault or a fall from much higher than 14 feet. And there was something else: the way her body was positioned. Tamla's arms were by her sides, palms up, not the usual spread eagle position you'd expect from someone who fell headfirst from balcony. The dirt around her hands showed no sign she tried to break her fall, no defensive wounds on her hands. And then there's the biggest oddity: the scene was cleaned up too quickly. and no photos were taken of her body before it was moved by first responders. After Tamla's death, the guests at the party did interviews with police, but some accounts shifted. One person said they heard a loud thud during the night. Another said they heard nothing. Jean's boyfriend, Jose Barrera, the one who called 911, worked as a pretrial officer in the county. He accessed the case files without permission, trying to see what investigators had. He was fired from his job for this breach. Rumors spread that people at the party might have conspired to keep the real story hidden. A few of the guests quickly hired lawyers and stuck to their story. Tamla drank too much, smoked a cigarette alone, fell, and died. Forsyth County, Georgia has a painful past. In 1912, the entire black population, more than 1,000 people, were driven out by white mobs. For decades, the county was known as a sundown town. Many believe that same legacy still lingers, and that a black woman's death at a white woman's house was not investigated as thoroughly as it would have been otherwise. The sheriff's office denied any wrongdoing, but Tamla's family and millions online weren't so sure. In 2020, after mounting pressure and hashtags like #JusticeForTamla, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation reopened the case. The FBI even stepped in at one point to review the local investigation. But in 2021, the GBI closed the case again, reaffirming the original conclusion: accidental death, no foul play. They said there was no evidence of a struggle, no DNA under Tamla's fingernails, and nothing suspicious enough to call a murder. But many, including independent pathologists, say the inconsistencies were never fully explained. If you dig through the forums and social media threads, the theories usually fall into three camps. 1. Tamla fell accidentally. Drunk and unsteady, she leaned too far, slipped, and fell. 2. Tamla got into an argument. Someone pushed her over the railing during a scuffle. 3. Something happened inside the house. A fight, an accident, an overdose, and her body was staged to look like a fall. With so many unanswered questions, people naturally suspect the worst, especially when no one seems eager to talk. So when we talk about Tamla Horsford today, we're really talking about a much bigger question. How many stories like hers are out there, hidden in plain sight, tied up in police reports that say accident when families feel in their bones that something more happened? How many times do people with power or connections get the benefit of the doubt, while the victim's loved ones get left with holes in their hearts and a file that says case closed? Tamla's story is about the way small details, the tone of a 911 call, the angle of a broken wrist, the smudge of a boot on a porch, can add up to something so much bigger than a simple accident. It's about a community that has never truly reckoned with its history, and the way old ghosts sometimes show up in new tragedies. Maybe you believe Tamla really fell. Maybe you don't. But what we do know is that her family deserved answers they never fully got. And that's what makes stories like this stick with you long after you turn off the screen. Because at the heart of every true crime mystery is a family. Kids who wake up every morning missing a mother they can't hug again. And a fight that doesn't stop just because the headlines moved on. So if you're here, you're part of that fight. Part of the reason Tamla Horsford's name won't fade. Keep asking questions, keep demanding better answers, and keep watching. Because here at Mystery Junkie, we won't let these stories die in the dark. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and tell me below, do you believe Tamla's death was an accident or something that was never meant to be uncovered?